Hello and welcome back to another episode, I guess, of Living Charmed Live. This is the 11th time going live. As you can see, I have no co host again today. That's okay. I do believe that she will be on with us tomorrow or Sunday. So Val will be back with us. My name is Shar. I am the Shar in Living Charmed. Um, And I am a life and relationship reset coach specializing in esteem alignment. And today is Relationship Friday. So we have Relationship Fridays on the odd dates on Fridays. And the topic today is Human Training 101 by Dog. So that being said, we'll kind of just jump right into it. Again, it's going to be a shorter show today because it's just me, and I don't have any little furry guests for the end segment of this. I do really want to start getting that going. So I am looking for furry ones to come and join me on this show for the little show and tell segment. And yes, you can bring your human with you. So I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this show. So we will just get right into the topic today. So I do tend to sometimes run longer than I want to, but today, like I said, should be a shorter one. So it's all good. So for those of you that don't know, I I'm in the midst of writing a couple of books, but I've already published one. And the name of that is A Furry Piece of Heaven. God spelt backwards is dog. And the reason I bring that up today is because in order to go through this topic of Human Training 101, I'm going to pull a chapter out of that book. That book is mainly about the relationship I had with my first dog, Lexus, of 16 years, and how after I lost her, I had a bit of a spiritual awakening of sorts, and just a deepening in my relationship with God, and the messages and signs that kind of happened around that were just so uncanny. I just had to get it all into a book. I started writing. That in itself is a bit of a sign, because that came from nowhere. And ever since then, there's been so much in here to get out on paper. And to be honest, before that, there wasn't probably a little bit of content in here to get onto paper. Any of my teachers, especially my primary school teachers, would attest to that. But it was just a weird thing. The floodgates just opened, and before I knew it, I had a book there. And one of the chapters in that book is called The Gifts Within Our Gifts. And that is the gifts. I believe all animals are a precious, precious gift from God. And dogs, especially. Dogs always have a very special place for in my heart. And they just so happen to share the same name backwards as God. So I believe that is no coincidence, and becomes quite apparent in my book. And so this one chapter really goes through that. And to do that today, I pulled a few of the gifts. There's probably about 10 or 12 in the book, and there's way more than that our dogs possess. And by the way, they possess these little gifts, virtuous traits, without uttering a single word to us. And they are able to just display these wonderful little virtuous traits that many of us humans have a tough time emulating, actually. So I'm going to start with the obvious: unconditional love. Our dogs, our animals, they love us without condition, right? There's not a lot of strings there, right? I mean, at first, obviously, we bond with them, and a lot of times that's through food and stuff like that. But this unconditional love is really one without strings, right? And it's tough, again, for humans to emulate that one. And so why would that be? I believe that it's mostly pride that gets in the way of that. We as humans don't like to be vulnerable. We don't like to put ourselves out there. You love me first and I'll love you back. Or, this is especially true a lot of times in romantic relationships and friendships and acquaintances and stuff. I mean, even families struggle there, because there's things that happen and an offense can turn into something that can be where a grudge can come into play and stuff, right? So um, it's kind of a give and take a lot of times. And with our dogs, for the most part, it's once they love us, and they really connect with us on a deep level. Dogs have an incredible amount of humility and grace within them, and they just it's really clear to see when you're in a relationship with a dog, and anybody that knows this, that has this connection and this relationship, knows that there really are not a lot of strings attached there. So in fact, none. I believe none, right? There's no scale. There's no like, oh, if you don't feed me, or you don't take me for a walk, or you don't pet me, or whatever, I'm not going to love you. Right? They just want to love you, love you, love you. They don't even, I mean, unfortunately, there's abused dogs, and they just love back. It's just that they just show love. And there are obviously exceptions to the rule where a dog has been abused and they turn and they're broken, and that's very sad, and I won't even get into that today because it hurts me to talk about it, actually. But and obviously there's some give and take with obedience, right? We train them with food and whatever, but for the most part, the love part of that, like we feed them, we give them treats to do things for us, but the love is free. The love is there. It's unconditional, right? They did say, I mean, you'll hear people say that, oh, they don't love you. It's just that they depend on you for food. And it comes from wolves when, there's a big story where man made friend with wolves and blah, blah, blah. And maybe it started there, but that relationship has evolved immensely over the years. Um, I've had dogs I think I've mentioned more than once that I have this little pet sitting business that I still do have, and it's very part time now. But I did it on a much bigger basis years ago, and I've had dogs that come here, and when that owner or that mommy and daddy leave the door, their whole state and their whole being changes. They don't want to eat for me. It's very difficult. They pine over them. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I love nothing more than to reunite that dog with their parents when they come home. The whole room changes when that love connection comes through the door back to the dog, right? They're just all over the place, all over their owner. The pup just explodes with happiness and love fills the room. So as humans, what if we did, what if we tried that, right? What if we, and what, I hate to say it, but the word there is tried. I mean, we, again, our default position is kind of it's human nature, right? Can be one of love does come with condition, right? Even if we're being honest, even on a subconscious level, right? We do tend to do that. But how would we go about changing that in ourselves? So again, a work in progress. Pride has to be dealt with, and pride is a tough one. Pride is a real tough one because we, like I said, want to protect that inner being. And ironically, when the more we go to protect that inner being, the more harmful it is to our relationships, right? It's like, well, there's an offense that has happened. It's like, well, but you're just so offended. It's like, well, who do they think they are, right? So we really, the best thing we can do is to be more aware and be more tolerant of maybe some of the quirks that some of the people that we are in relationships have. Be more accepting of them, right? Again, this is all surface level stuff, right? If you're in an abusive relationship, whenever I have these talks, and you always have people saying, yeah, but blah blah blah, right? And yeah, there is going to be some buts for sure. There's an exception to every rule. We're not talking about abusive relationships. We're talking about relationships as a whole here. So you want to be more accepting of a lot. We people, when we're in relationships, they have to accept things about us. Nobody's perfect. None of us are. So we want to be more accepting. We want to be able to celebrate what we do love about those people, right? Appreciate and show that appreciation to them. Tell them about that, right? Like, just be more appreciative of and accepting in the relationships that we are in. Um, that brings me to forgiveness. Um, Dogs are quicker than quick to forgive. I mean, I have seen this a billion times in my life. Unfortunately, I can be a little bit clumsy. I can, step trip on my dog or whatever. You've all heard that yelp that comes from a dog, right? They tell you that they're hurt. But what do they do next? They bow their heads, look up at you, and as if to say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for being in the way. And I just want to love you. I love you. I love you. Are you okay? That's how a dog acts when we hurt them, right? I mean, if they're hurt a lot, obviously some of them are going to retaliate because it's just a instant. It's instinctually, right? They instinctually will retaliate if depending on how painful it is. But for the most part, right? If we're home to them late, they know when we're late. They have timelines and they know when we're late. If they have to go to the bathroom, they and or it's feeding time, they know what time it is. But they don't walk over to the dish and go, you better feed me, or go to the door with guilt and like, oh my god, you better, like they do if there's an urgency, right? But they're also loving you at the same time. They're like, oh, you're here, and they're like so torn because they're running to the door and they're running to you. They really want to greet you, and they just show their love, and they forgive you right away. They do not hold a grudge there, right? So humans we can tend to hold grudges, right? We can, days, months at a time. We remember the offense. We remember when somebody offends us and we hold on to it. We have secret resentments sometimes. We'll be civil to the person, but in all honesty, we're still harboring some resentment towards them because we're still remembering that offense. In some cases we're revenge. We're plotting ways to get back at the person, living in wait for that person to screw up in the way that we perceive to screw up to them if they got mad at us for something, right? Waiting to pay them back. All of those things never ever hurts the offender, the person that we're mad at, right? The person that we're not willing to forgive, right? It does hurt us though. It hurts us a lot when we have those kinds of hateful emotions or stuff like holding grudges and resentment and bitterness and even revenge and stuff. When we have that inside of us, it does make us sick. It hurts us, and it only hurts us. It really rarely hurts the offender. Most of the time, if the offender remembers, they just don't care, right? They just don't care. I think most people, when we've been hurt or when we hurt others, it's unintentionally. I think for the most part, it is unintentionally. If it's intentional, well, then you know what you have to do, right? If that person's intentionally hurting somebody, people hurt others, right? So you know how to deal with that. But if it's an offense that you can just kind of go, okay, yeah, I can let it go, then by all means, that's how we overcome this, right? We get over ourselves, right? And we just take it to the next level because it is harder. It is rising above. It's harder to go, okay, that really bothered me. I'm going to let it go and I'm going to get past this, right? You want to let it go for the sake of the relationship and for the sake of yourself, right? Forgiving does not mean accepting the behavior or the offense. It doesn't mean accepting it. If if you depending on the offense, you can let them know that hurt you, whatever, blah blah blah, and then you let it go. Of course, if they continue to do it, then you might have to take a different approach. But for the most part, you just want to let go of the offense and accept the person. Dogs, they I know if you step on a dog's paw, they're gonna go, I know you didn't mean to hurt me, you clumsy stupid human. I still love you. So it's a dog just assumes that there was no intent there, right? So we have to try to do that when we're stuck in an unforgiveness mode, right? We have to learn that people are when we're in relationships, we're going to get hurt. People are going to hurt us, mostly unintentionally, right? And it's better for us to let it go, that means not keeping a running record of it. When you let it go, you let it go. That doesn't mean that when a similar circumstance comes up and you throw it back in their face, right? That's keeping a running record. That really starts to create a lot of untrust within a relationship, right? And then it doesn't do anybody any good. It doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do them any good. It's just best to be able to let it go. And by the way, when I talk to people about letting go and forgiving as quick as you possibly can, I'm not saying it for the offender's sake. I'm saying it for your sake. For your sake. This is for you. This helps you move on. It helps you stay well and happy and in a better state of being all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that one and I'm going to go to their crazy happy greeting. Who has not experienced that great welcome of a dog? You can't walk into a room that has a dog in it and not know that they are there and that they love you instantly. That the waggy tail that they have, just the greeting. Sometimes they jump up on you. Sadly, sometimes it can be off-putting, especially if a dog is bigger. So we do end up training that out of them. But unless we break the spirit of the dog, it's still very clear. They always find a way to let you know that they are crazy happy to see you. You know that you are loved. And again, not a single word is spoken by them, but you know that you're loved. You can feel it from them. And that actually brings me to body language. They are master communicators. A head tilt, they want to know what's going on, or a paw lift, right? Ears back when they're scared. The eyes. Their eyes are, there's 1,000 communications in their eyes. Love, all kinds of things come from their eyes. A loving gaze into your eyes. You just can feel the love coming from them when they look at you, and there's that eye to eye communication. A paw reach, just a reach of a paw. I remember one time I was picking up a dog for a walk, and it was really icy out, and there was a big steep hill, and I was going to get stuck on that hill. And there's nothing that stresses me out more. Well, there's lots of things that stress me out more than that, but that's a big stressor for me. And all of a sudden, I feel this furry black and white paw on my arm, because obviously I must have been physically agitated and maybe verbally a little bit, but I feel this touch on my arm, and I was instantly reminded to just chill out and go with the flow. Right? They just are, like I said, master communicators. The waggy tail, right? The waggy tail, but that's not enough, so the bum gets involved. And in some cases that's not enough, so the whole body starts to writhe in excitement. Right? They show you all kinds of ways as to how they are feeling, and they can do it. Right? So so for humans, it's okay for us to show appreciation when somebody enters the room. It's okay to be crazy happy to see somebody. Again, it kind of goes to vulnerability, and what if I don't get that back? What I say to that is, who cares? Who cares? At the end of the day, you showed appreciation to somebody, and you can walk away knowing that you showed appreciation to somebody. A dog doesn't care if they don't get that attention back. They just go about their business and they're like, meh, whatever, right? They don't care, right? Eye contact. Somebody enters the room, eye contact. Make eye contact with them, right? Look at them. Acknowledge their presence, right? You don't have to jump on them and smell them and stuff like that, obviously. But you want to make eye contact. Humans, we can smile. Dogs can smile too, by the way. I didn't even mention that, but they can smile. They definitely can have happy little smiles. But smile, smile at them. Make that eye contact. And this goes for everybody, whether you know them well, whether you love them, whether there's just an acquaintance or even a stranger, right? Just make that eye contact, smile, arms open, not folded, right? Like you know what acceptance looks like, right? And don't be afraid to show that. Just do not be afraid to show that. Some people are huggers. I personally am not much of a hugger. I don't mind hugging. It's okay. I get bugged about it because I'm just not a touchy feely person. But some people like to hug, and you reciprocate. that. If you're not a hugger and somebody's a hugger, you hug them back, right? It's that's their way of showing appreciation, and it's just a good thing to do, to hug them back, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Um, Human 201, we can verbalize. We have the gift of verbalization. So, make a comment, talk to somebody. Don't be, even if it's a stranger, you want to take it a step further, compliment somebody. Always be looking for the good. Always be looking for good. It is unfortunately one of a human nature thing to kind of pick out the bad sometimes. Again, that's pride, right? And insecurity when you're looking for the negatives, right? But if that's the case, then train yourself to look for the good in people. You can turn this around. It only makes you a better person. It only raises the value inside of you. So always be looking for the good in somebody. Show interest. Ask questions. Ask them questions. Have them open up to you, right? You could get, it's none of your business, right? Well, so what if you do? Right? If you do, all you did was you showed some interest. Obviously, you don't want to go into not in a nosy way. You don't want to ask what their bank statement was last month and stuff like that. You want to ask some open-ended, just friendly, hey, I want to get to know you better questions, or deepening questions if you were in a relationship with somebody already. Just show interest, right? And again, look for a way to appreciate them. Compliment them. I can't say that enough. Nobody hates to hear a compliment. Make sure it's genuine, not something that you're just like obviously making up. Find the good first, and then verbalize it. Right? Just get good at that. Get good at doing that. So today I just pulled out a few of the gifts that from that chapter. There's obviously quite a few more. There's protectiveness, servitude, intuitiveness, grace, loyalty, living in the now. There's so many gifts that they have, right? And maybe on another day, I'll maybe touch on a few more and go a little bit deeper. But, so in closing, I'm just going to say, go be a dog this week. Seriously, just go be a dog. Let your babies teach you. Let them show you how to love. Let them show you how it's done, because they are masters. They are masters at it. And that's it for today. So that's just a short and sweet show today again. And again, looking for furry guests. I want you to bring your dog on. Let's hope for that by next Friday we can have some furry guests on here. At least one, maybe two, for the end of this Furlationship Fridays. And to do that, please send that to livingcharmed.live@gmail.com. So you want to make sure that you have your Fridays open on odd dates. And it would be anytime between 11 and 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So just if you have that timeline available and you want to be on our show, please do email me. I would love to have you on. And of course, your furry little one or ones, if you have more than one. For past and future live video casts, you can go to my website, livingcharmed.ca. And if you or anybody you know is struggling in an area of their life or relationship, please do reach out. You can contact me at that email or on the website. So the next Furlationship Friday is going to be on March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day, one of my favorite days. I am Irish, so maybe we'll make it a happy hour one, just saying. Maybe we'll have a green beer and maybe a little fluffy on there. My little girl has a pink tail. I have to have her on one of these days. Maybe next time, but her tail will still be pink. I'm not going to get her tail done green for that, but it's going to be on St. Patrick's Day, so that will be the next time that I'm on for Furlationship Fridays. And I believe the next other show is going to be Relationship Rich themed, which will be tomorrow, and the topic will be to be announced. Okay, so that is going to be it for now. Have a great day. Go hug your puppies, your kitties, your birds, your reptiles, whatever it is you have, whatever relationship it is that keeps you happy. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.